Hi, Gary here. You know, there's a skit in 1976, first season of Saturday Night Live, where Gilda Radner's holding this bottle. It's called New Shimmer, and she's saying it's a floor wax, and then Dan Aykroyd grabs it and says, "No, it's a dessert topping. Floor wax, dessert topping." And of course, Chevy Chase walks in and says, "No, hold on, folks." And he says it's both. And of course, the tagline at the end for this new shimmer is, "For the greatest shine you ever tasted." You know, of course, it makes you laugh, but there's some truth in there that many times when we look at products and services, they do multiple things, and they're not necessarily made up to be what they really are. A lot of selling the sizzle there, you know, almost snake oil sales stuff. So we become a little bit wary about that particular type of product or service. Now, I remember back in the mid-'80s when I started in this business, that at that time there was the RELP, the Real Estate Limited Partnership. Some of you probably own them, and I remember one of these clients around 1990 or so, I said, "I'd rather change it to another four-letter word that begins with F." And the reason he said that was because these were put together in the late 70s and early 80s as tax write-offs. And everybody loved them when they were tax write-offs. 50% tax bracket people were in, they got this big write-off. However, the underlying real estate was many times garbage. So when we got to the point where you needed a return on the real estate, it just wasn't there. And in fact, it got so bad that the Tax Reform Act of 1986 basically set up the S&L crisis, if you remember this, in 1989, and the follow-up recession in 1991. That's how bad those things are put together. A really bad combination of real estate and tax write-offs, at least in the manner these were put together. So what do we look for, you know, when we're buying a product or service? You know, we're looking for it to be, you know, simple and understandable. We're looking for something that has some high probability of success, at least based on past performance, which of course is not guaranteed. And we're looking for something that has predictable results. You know, something where we know that based on how this particular investment works, that there's some fairly predictable results of what will happen over time. When we start adding in little things to it over and over again, it starts to become a little bit complicated. You know, I remember years ago when variable annuities came out, they were pretty simple, they weren't very expensive, and now you can buy one where basically 3+% expenses annually go to all these riders and everything else for various kinds of guarantees and everything else. And the product was put in place for personal tax deferment and growth of your funds. So here you are trying to have this growth, and half of your return, or almost that much, is going to all these different costs that are trying to make something guaranteed, growth but guaranteed. They never go together. It doesn't make much sense to do that. I'm not saying don't look at these products. I'm just saying it's an example of where it's kind of a mixed message taking place there. And we see this in lots of areas. You see it in the investment arena all the time. People coming in and bringing products to us to look at, where I can't understand them. I can't figure out what's going on. There's multiple things trying to be done. I just can't get to the core essence of what this product is supposed to do. And it's because they're mixing these multiple items together. And we go back to those real estate limited partnership days, and so we take a pass. But like those singular ones. You know, the interesting part is this, guys, is that if you have something that has growth for you, you have something that has inflation that it looks at, if you have guarantees for your cash, you know, that you want to have, if you have something that has income driven sources for you, and so on and so forth, you get everything you need, but it's very clear what you're getting. When you try to combine these into multiple things, you kind of get a half washed down version of all of it. It's just not the way to do it. And so really being careful not to pick up these products and services where they get these multi things they do, because many times it's just kind of, unfortunately, for the greatest shine you ever tasted. So until next time, enjoy.